Hi everyone, welcome. Thank you for coming today. First of all, I just want to thank you all for coming, because as you know, this information doesn't come out unless it's a co-creation experience. So you are all the keys to the information, so thank you for being here. We're going to be talking a little bit at the beginning today about some of the things we've got going on this year that you might like to join us in. But before we do that, we might just sit for a minute or two. We have the lovely Monica McTaggart today, musician extraordinaire, intuitive musician, who's going to just help us bring the energy in, because a lot of us are feeling today that we're going to be accessing new information, and it's a very powerful opportunity for us energetically today to establish something. So we'll just give ourselves a couple of minutes just to sit with each other and sit into comfort, and then we'll begin. One.
We are with you. And you are here because you know. You are not here because you seek. And you are not here because you wish to understand. These are human follies. These are actions and intentions of the mind. You are here because you know. You come here in this way to remember what you know. And you come here in this way to know within this reality. Because that aspect of you that sits here with us in this moment is increasing. It's increasing in volume. It is increasing in vibration. It is increasing in presence. Your physicality and your bodies are now able to sustain more of you. And as they begin to sustain more of you, you know more. Now you understand that the human methodology of learning, expressing, and becoming very comfortable with knowledge is all about referencing externally and then being able to express. This knowing that you come with on this day is all about an energetic knowing. The knowing exists in you vibrationally already. The signatures already exist in you. In fact, we say unto you that we would encourage you to leave this room on this day with a very clear understanding that there is nothing more for you to gain. There is nothing more for you to gain in terms of knowledge or in terms of wisdom, because you already know. The imprints for information, the imprints, the genetic codings, the blueprints, the signatures, the galactic sequences, you already have. This has only been a situation where the third dimensional reality could not support you being able to access it. Could not support you being able to know it. Could not support you being able to express it. There are those of you in this year, 2018, that will have a lot to say. And you will have a lot to express. And you will have a lot of opinion. But be aware that your opinion is valuable, because your opinion at this time is a direct representation of that which you know. This is no longer about ego. It's no longer about staying quiet. It's about expressing what you know, expressing what you have, because it's all there. Now, what if we said unto you that knowledge has nothing to do with structure? Listen carefully. Knowledge has nothing to do with structure. Structure exists to hold knowledge. Just as the physical body exists to hold knowledge. Just as your libraries exist to hold knowledge. But the holding and the storage of your systems on this planet are what prevents things from being expressed. It's also what prevents things from being known. Because if anything is in storage, it is not easily accessible. Agreed? So here we are at this time, and this knowledge that you are, this knowledge that you already express and that you already have, does not need a system to be able to be expressed. It does not need a system to be able to be understood. It does not need a system to be able to be communicated or transferred. Are you listening carefully? Because there are many of you in this room who know things. And there is so much frustration within you because you don't know how to get it out. Why are people not able to access what I know? Yes? Because you are looking to express it through structure. So let us say to you very clearly that your ability to express in 2018 must happen for you and will happen for you and is happening for you beyond structure. Why? Because you are all expressing with your signatures. In fact, in this very moment, all of you have been brought into this space and come into this room with each other because you are expressing from your signatures. The knowing and the knowledge that you have is being expressed in this very moment. It is reverberating from within you. It is reverberating from within you because it is time. And you are all being switched on. And what happens for you is that when you all become switched on, you become very disinterested in engagement. And it doesn't make sense to you. Because something is coming to life, but you want to disengage with life. Can you understand it? It's not that you're becoming recluses. It's not that you're lost. It's not that you're disillusioned. It's that you're coming to life, but the knowing that you have does not want to adhere to existing structure. Now, for some of you, that has been an issue of visibility. It has meant that because your knowing cannot adhere to structure, that you are still invisible in your knowing. But let us say this to you, that 2018 is your year for visibility. You know that 2017 was a year for quarantine, agree? It was a year where there was so much that was on hold. All the deconstruction that you had done, all of the work, humans love to use that term, work. All of the effort, all of the labor, all of the crying, all of the emotion, all of the letting go. And then 2017, there were moments of quarantine. However, this year is the year for visibility. Why? Because this is a year that energetic sequence can actually be acknowledged and noticed by the general population on the planet. Why? Because the collective consciousness is now able to do that. When we talk about collective consciousness in this way, of course, we are speaking about the collective human consciousness. That energy, that source that represents every human expression, the accumulation of human experience. That is the term we use when we use the word collective consciousness in this way. Therefore, human experience can now feel, receive, and begin to understand your energetic resonance. So it is not a time to be looking at distributing your knowledge through systems. It is a time to be pulsating it. Because the pulsation becomes the life of the planet. The pulsation is the life of the planet. Do you understand? You've always known that the planet itself has a heartbeat, or a pulse we would call it. Heartbeat is a human interpretation. It has a pulse. And it has a pulse that is the very rhythm for sustaining life. It is a pulse that is in coherence
with the pulse of the galaxy and beyond, the pulse of the universe and beyond. And this is a time where humanity and that consciousness also begins to pulse with the planet. And so once that begins to happen within the collective human consciousness, all of a sudden, humans start to hear. They start to feel. They start to gravitate towards things without knowing why. Just as all of this has been happening for you, agree? There's many of you that don't know why you're even here on this day. Because something just felt as if there was resonance. That there is energetic signature that can be known and can be felt. And yet we ask you in this moment to look around the room, because if you look at each other, you are sensing the knowing in each other. And it is palpable, agree? Your cells begin to vibrate at a different speed. There is an excitement that sits in you. Yes, you don't know what it is. There are many minds that are worrying at this moment that are saying, how do I apply it? How do I apply it? How do I apply it? Remember, the application is not the efficient focus. The reverberation is. So it's important that we introduce this day for you with a new contextualization of what knowledge is. Because knowledge on this planet has been storage of memory. It has been storage of accumulated human experience. And that knowledge is not the knowledge that is going to catapult humanity into a new paradigm. The knowledge that will do that is the knowing that you are. The energetic sequence that you hold, the DNA that you reverberate and affect others with. Because remember, your DNA actually creates vibrational frequency that moves out from beyond you in a pulse-like fashion and affects others. That is the knowing. That is the awakening. Because you're coming to understand now that it is not diligence and it is not study and it is not isolation that brings you your spiritual understanding. It is a sharing of the knowing. And nothing even needs to be said. That is why there are many moments that you have had in your experiences where suddenly you have had a knowing. Where did it come from? Did it come from a book? Did it come from a teacher? Did it come from a library? No. It came from the collective human consciousness. Because the physical bodies now have moved out of their encapsulated auric fields. The nervous systems are all becoming interconnected. Therefore, you are all pulsing together. If one human knows something, another human will know it too. So the celebration comes not from the understanding and the gaining of knowledge. The joy comes from knowing that when something arises within you, it is a shared experience. Therefore we say unto you, every time a knowing arises within you, be diligent. Be present and clear in that moment. Thank you, collective humanity. I sit in a sharing with you. Do you understand? Because knowledge no longer comes from an external source. It comes up within you. And your DNA is beginning to do what it was created to do. Yes? Emit knowing. Emit frequency. Emit coding. Emit knowledge. Can you see it? So therefore, how important is your presence at this time? Very important. How important is for you to be interacting with other humans? Quite important. And there are moments where you feel as if there are things that need to be expressed. You might not know what needs to be expressed, but there is an expression. It's very important that you embrace what you believe your opinion is. Because your opinion is now aligned with your knowing. And there is energetic sequency in that expression. Yes? How many of you have been known for being opinionated? Of course. And yet the mantra has always been, he who walks with God, he who is the spiritual one, holds no opinion. They are happy to observe. But that is not this time. That is not this planet. That is not this humanity. Do you understand? The opinion is the expressing of the knowing. And the expressing of the knowing is the beginning of the new planet. Yes? Why? Because the energetic sequences interconnected are the new structure for the planet. They are the new grids for the planet. Every time you express your opinion, you express your knowing, the structure becomes formed. The structure of interconnectedness that allows the reverberation to be felt within everybody. Think of it, if you will, as a trellis or a vine that begins to grow in multiple directions, that allows things to exist upon it, allows fruit to be grown, allows humanity to be sustained. Because if there are questions about sustenance, if there are questions about what can be sustained in the current chaotic environment on this planet, we say unto you, be ye not concerned. We say unto you that your expression of your knowing is the sustenance. Can you understand it? Very well. One moment, please. Greetings to you. We are with you. We want to be speaking to you on this day about the mechanics of what is happening on your planet. Agreeable? The mechanics. Why? Because the human mind still enjoys the mechanics. Agree? So what is happening on your planet? Does anyone know what's happening on your planet? Destruction? Anything else? Does anybody even have a sense of a rhythm at the moment?
Community coming up.
Uprising?
Yeah. Community.
Community?
And the feminine.
There's a lot of talk about the feminine. Very interesting. So let us talk to you about what is happening energetically in terms of structure on the planet, shall we? Because the planet itself, if you want to look at the physicality of it, because humans like to look at physicality, has shifted somewhat over the last 4 months. And that is why you've all been feeling a little bit off kilter. So some of the dizziness, some of the sleep patterns, some of the emotional upheaval, yes. Because the planet itself, and we've discussed this in previous conversations, has actually shifted position. It's actually shifted position in time and space. It has actually shifted position within your third dimensionality. And your scientists on the planet know about this. It happened very quickly. It has not been very gradual. It happened very, very quickly. And what happened when the planet actually shifted physically is that the electromagnetic fields of the planet had an opportunity to open. Now, if you look at the traditional way the electromagnetic fields on the planet are created, you will see that there is encapsulation. And there are those that would say, well, an electromagnetic field necessarily has encapsulation, but we say unto you something interesting has been happening on the planet in terms of the electromagnetic fields, and that is that they are starting to become more like this. So there is an increase in how they are being formed in terms of the geometry. It also means that rather than having particular points on the planet where the energies from outside of the Earth's atmospheric conditions can actually access the planet, that is now opening up now so that there are more. Do you understand? So in other words, at a physical level,
the planet is becoming exposed. Now, when a planet becomes exposed, not only does it allow other dimensional experiences to be felt within the human ether, it also means that the rest of the ether becomes very visible to the planet. This is something your scientists also know about. Because we would like you to consider for a moment that the way in which the electromagnetic field has been structured around your planet for eons has necessarily meant that it's very difficult for you to see or access anything beyond the planet itself. Very difficult for you to see. And you can see that this has increased. Even though there is technology now, your scientists tell you, that can see further and further and further into what is beyond this physicality of your planet, we say unto you that it's also getting more and more difficult to see beyond. How easy is it for you to go outside and see your stars? Yes? How difficult is it for you to be able to see anything that is happening in the sky? Yes? So there has been a certain amount of, we will choose our words carefully, there has been a certain amount of cloaking that has occurred. So it's very difficult for humanity to begin to look beyond its own sense of reality. Now that this is beginning to open up, there are a range of energetic influences that are beginning to come into the planet itself. Some of this you are experiencing through changing weather phenomena, changing water currents, do you understand? Changing migratory patterns for animals, birds, fish on the planet, and so on. But how you're also experiencing it is you're experiencing it internally as well. Because where you found your stability before, it's not there anymore. This translates even into where the energetic centers in the body are. Because where you used to feel that your crown was, and where you used to feel that your base was, is not there anymore. Now, we've been talking about this for some years, about how that chakra system is reconfiguring and deconstructing. However, what you've experienced in the last 4 months is that there's no up and down anymore. Agree? How difficult is it for you to ground? Of course. Because you've not realized that the planet itself, when its electromagnetic fields shift, so too do the fields of the human body. You are extensions of the planet. Therefore, you are a representation of it. Do you understand? So we say unto you that anything about centering in your body has become incredibly difficult. Very difficult to maintain, very difficult to feel that sense. There are many times where you feel as if you're shifting a little bit to the side. Agree? Or that there is a spinning, especially in your sleep. We have even had conversations with those who will actually spin on their beds during the night. This is all to do with the opening that is occurring. So when the opening occurs and different, we will say, streams of information, different elements of life become available to the planet, it also becomes available to you. Because remember, the human body is a microscopic version of the planet itself. That is also why you share certain symptoms. If somebody has a sore leg, chances are many people you know have a sore leg. Yes? If you're experiencing headaches, many of your friends are experiencing headaches. So the collectivity of human experience with the physical body is directly related to what is happening with the physicality of the planet. Because you are aligned with it. You are extensions of it. So, if you understand that this is starting to come in now, you also understand that this is going to affect your direction. Humans love to know about direction, don't they? How many of you are here because you want to know your direction this year? So when the Earth was structured the way that it used to be, in terms of its electromagnetic fields, there were two directions, really. Because there was where you're going and where you've come from, maybe for getting off the path the wrong way this way, getting off the path the wrong way that way. Agree? Forwards or backwards. Linear.
What you find here with all of these openings that are occurring and the change in the formation of the electromagnetic field of the planet is that now there are multiple openings, multiple pathways, multiple directions. So all of this we have discussed in earlier conversations, but if you can begin to understand that it is being reflected in the construct of the planet, you can also see that if you were to ask us on this day about direction, we would say unto you, well, which one? And that's not designed to confuse you, it's designed to help you to understand that now more is available to you. More direction is available. And you don't really have to choose because you get to experience as many of them as you like. Now, if you consider for a moment that you are the planet, if the planet is constructed like this and there are all of these directions, does the planet want to actually journey along any of these openings? What would you consider? Is that the nature of the planet? To move out into one of these openings and follow it? Like a dog follows a scent? No. Because the role of the planet is to sit there and express life. It may express life here, 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 or here, but it doesn't move. Because where these openings are in the electromagnetic field, that's not just about accessing what is available beyond the veil of your Earth experience. It's also about expressing back out into what is available. Do you understand? Because the Earth has been encapsulated in its experience for so long that it hasn't really had a lot of impact. Now, there are those that say, well, in multiple dimensional fabric, the Earth is having impact. There are many that say that. And we would say unto you, consider for a moment that in every version of reality, the Earth is also different. So, in terms of this conversation, we will say unto you that if all of these avenues are opening up for you, just like they're opening up for the planet, it means that you don't necessarily have to journey along them. It is only at your discretion, where is my focus? I'm here and now I'm focusing on this opening. What can be expressed there? What can be experienced there? And then I'm focusing on this opening. And then I'm focusing on this opening. And life becomes very rich with experience. This is already beginning with many of you. But it can become confusing because the human mind says, well, which one? I can't continue just focusing in all these different directions because I'm not going anywhere. Can you see it? But the assumption here is that you're supposed to go somewhere. And we say unto you, no. You're supposed to be and express. Because the more you're willing to sit there and shift your focus to whatever the opening is, the more and more and more and more is going to be available to you. And the question arises within the minds of many in this room in this moment that says, well, if I just sit here, how am I going to sustain myself? Where is my supply? Yes? And we say unto you, well, you have not considered then that supply comes through these avenues. What is happening for the planet at this time? Why are the electromagnetic fields opening? So that more of what is available in the galactic fields can be supplied to the planet. Do you understand? So your supply comes through those openings, but you don't have to chase them. Can you understand it? Back to our very familiar phrase, the master does not go knocking on the door of others who would seek his help. He stays still and others will come to him. Yes? And so consider for the moment that the earth is becoming a place that many are beginning to come to. your increase in population is not an accident, nor is it a miscalculation. Is there a question at this moment?
Is there any part of the body that we actually access this information, or is it all encompassing through all the DNA?
We say unto you that it is the DNA that enables it to be expressed. It is the opening through the different channels in your field that allow that elicitation to occur.
So we value your question greatly and we thank you.
Because it draws our attention to the fact that you already have everything that you need on a cellular level. So when we talk about energies and influences coming in, this can stimulate what is already there. Do you understand? But it does not necessarily add to it. Because remember, you already are the knowing. Nothing can be added unto you. So always important to think about anything that is externalized that has value to you is about stimulation. Yes? Which is why so many of you are bored. Because the only satisfaction you're going to have physically, emotionally, and mentally in 2018 is through stimulation. So if you're going to seek to be quiet, if you're going to seek to be alone, it's not going to be very helpful to you. Yes? So those of you who are the resident recluses in the room, get ready. Yes? You know who you are. So vitality. 2018, exposure, yes, stimulation, not necessarily having to follow anything, but being available to what is opening to you. The focus is the new following. Yes? Focus is the new following. Or should we say focus is the new journey? Very important. Because everywhere you focus, something begins. Do you need to follow it? No. Are you here to follow a path? Haven't you all been doing that time and time and time again? Who is weary? Who is weary of following a path? Yes? Yes. So focus is the new journey. Because what focus does for you is that it opens up the opportunity and it allows something to unfold. This is not about walking along the path of that unfolding. All you have to do is put your focus on it and you get to experience it. Yes. So if you get to put your focus on an opening and you experience it, isn't that multi-dimensional life? Consider it for a moment. Within your third dimensional realities, to experience anything within that belief system, you have to go on a journey to have experience, agree? You can't just sit around at home all day. You have to go on a journey. And yet in multi-dimensional reality, all you have to do is shift your focus and you're having another experience. Isn't that what multi-dimensional vision is? Isn't that what multi-dimensional knowing is? It's not about the journey because there's no distance in multi-dimensional capacity. It's just about where is the focus. So as soon as you shift your focus, you're having a new experience. You don't have to follow it or chase it. You just have to be with it. And the unfolding of it as it occurs is the journey. Do you understand? You don't have to push it, you don't have to grow it, you don't really have to do anything other than give it your attention. Why? Because you're not here to journey, you're here to create. And if you are using your focus is your creating. Focus equals creation. Now, consider this.
blessed ones,
if focus is creation, that means you can create things all the time by shifting your focus. Something grows there, something happens there, because your attention is on it. That is the nature of consciousness. That is the nature of source. Focus is creation. And that's not mental focus, that's presence focus. Do you understand? You shift your gaze slightly and you experience something completely different. And in that moment, something is created. That is the true nature of the human. And that is why you are here at this time. Yes? Humans have become so distracted with this concept of journey that they have stopped creating. Yes? Or stopped being conscious that they are creating. Stop being engaged in the pleasure of creation. Oh, look, my focus is here and something is happening. Why is it not acceptable for you in that moment to say, ha, I created that. Ha, my attention caused that to happen. Or was instrumental in that occurring. Do you understand? It's not arrogance. It's how consciousness works. If you really understand the nature of dimensional fabric and the nature of reality on this planet, you'll understand that unless you notice something, it doesn't really exist. There always has to be a point of focus or human focus or attention for something to even exist. Consider this. Consider that this dimensional playground doesn't exist without your attention. Do the forests and the trees exist if the human attention isn't there? How do things come in and out of your reality? Is it that they've been undiscovered for so long and all of a sudden they've been discovered but they were always there? Or consider this. Do new things come into your awareness and reality because there is attention there? Yes? Consider this journey, for example. Consider going to places that nobody knows about. Were they there before? Were they there before anybody knew? Or did they enter human reality because there was some focus and attention there? Do you understand? That's how knowledge comes into the human realm. Knowledge is not accumulated through journey. When you talk about that kind of knowledge, you're talking about accumulated human experience. Are you not? So I have knowledge, I have accumulated human experience. I am knowledgeable. For example, this one here. If a friend comes to you and asks you for advice, where will you take your knowledge from to give them advice about a situation? Say, for example, they're having an issue with their child and they come to you. What would you say?
Depend on the issue. It would depend what the problem with the child was.
But where would you take your experience? Where would you take your knowledge from?
Inside.
From within?
Yeah.
Then we would commend you. But most humans will take it from their accumulated human experience. True? For example, if someone comes to you and says, well, I tried to bake a cake, but it didn't do this very well. What do you think? And you would go through your accumulated human experience of baking a cake and say, well, from my experience, I would say that this is what needs to be done. But that doesn't create anything. Solves the problem. So the current systems of knowledge on your planet are all based around accumulated human experience. And if you think about the density of human experience, because remember, human experience is full of emotion, agree? It's full of third-dimensional beliefs. It's very personal in its content. So if we think about accumulated human belief, accumulated knowledge, accumulated history in terms of bricks and mortar, yes, you will begin to understand that your entire planetary knowledge system
including many spiritual contexts, are based upon accumulated human experience. And these are the bodies of knowledge that are circulating in structure, because that's how you access them. Why are they circulating in structure? Because they are dense, and they are ordered, and they are controlled. Even your human experience is controlled, because when you access your memory of your accumulated human experience, there is opinion and judgment that is there. Therefore, this was a good experience, that was a bad experience. I will draw on this, I won't draw on that. Can you understand? So immediately it gets ordered, usually in terms of duality. So, if we have accumulated human experience in the kind of density that is bricks and mortar, you can see that your entire planet is based on a philosophy that we build strong foundations on accumulated human experience. Agree? When you have experience, then you can go out there and be an expert. When you have an experience, then we can do something that has longevity. Can you understand it? Isn't that what you tell your children? You must have experience in life. To be secure, to know what you're doing. To be safe, you must have experience. So if you look at this as bricks and mortar, you can see that it's foundationary and you're meant to build upon it. So there are many humans on the planet who are working very hard to build these bricks and mortar foundations. However, the more bricks and mortar that you build up, imagine, if you will, you're building bricks and mortar around you. This is my experience, my experience, my experience, my experience, my experience. Because as long as it's personal to you, it builds up around you. And then what happens is, somebody comes to you to seek your counsel and says, hello, can you give me some wisdom or advice about this? And there's so much accumulated human experience around you that you will speak to them from there. Or they will only be able to hear you through the bricks. Yes? Where are you in there? Where is your consciousness in there? Nobody can see you. Your voice is muffled. And you're not giving them anything new. All you're giving them is more bricks and mortar so they can go and build some more walls around themselves. Thank you for that experience. I'll take that and I'll add it to my foundation of experience. So 2018 is the year, as we say, for visibility. It is also the year where you begin to thin your accumulation of experience. It doesn't mean to say it doesn't exist. It doesn't mean to say you're chipping away at it and getting rid of it, because it is what it is. But it's important that you start to look at accumulated human experience and accumulated human knowledge as holographic. Because if you begin to see it as a shimmer, if you begin to see it as a projection of light and of holographic images around you, all of a sudden people can start to see you. All of a sudden there's a light in there and it shines out. And people come to see you for your wisdom. And they're not interested in the holographic image, they're interested in the light that is projecting that image. Do you understand? That is the sharing of knowledge and wisdom. That is a new human reality. So it's important that you begin to consider that your experience and your history and what you have learned is nothing more than a holographic representation of life. Another layer of belief. Because it is time now for what you know to start to become visible and expressed. Do you understand? Yes. Not only does that pull you out of separation with each other, it brings down many walls on the planet. Yes? We would invite you in this moment to sit and be with yourselves and think upon some memory, some experience that you have, knowledge that you have earned, and begin to see it thin. Begin to see it shiver. And allow yourself to reach through it. So that you and your knowing becomes accessible. Ye cannot be contained nor defined by your experience. Very well. We are going to give you some moments to refresh yourselves. We are very clear, as you are experiencing in this moment, that more has been revealed. So be mindful in your refreshment period that what you are expressing has nothing to do with your accumulated history. Do you even know what your name is if you don't have accumulated history? We challenge you in the next 10 or 15 minutes, if you are going to interact, and you might choose not to express from beyond your accumulated history. Very well.